Congressman Mike Arcuri in studio here right now. Good morning.
Former Congressman.
Former Congressman. Good morning.
Thank
well,
you.
you'd be in the hot seat right now.
Oh, I sure would be.
So I just wanted to bring on this health care issue. And, you know, we've talked to Anthony Brindisi. We've talked to former Congressman Richard Hanna, who told us that he would not vote for this. Where are you on the current bill? A lot of people feel this could be very damaging to our hospitals and facilities. Where, first of all, are you on this bill?
Well, I have to qualify my answer first by saying that it's hard to know what the final iteration of the bill is.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, it gets changed almost by the hour, you know, relative to certain people that want changes made. And you keep hearing that, you know, over and over. Well, the president's willing to concede this, put that. And so, I mean, you know, I have to qualify it by saying it's hard to know exactly where it is. But from what I've heard, I would without question oppose it. And I say that, you know, having opposed the last bill.
And talk about how that went. I think this is very interesting because you're watching how the president right now is really trying to pressure these guys into getting this thing passed. Interestingly here, what makes this so unique is you have the far right saying don't vote for this, but you also have Democrats in the left saying don't vote for this.
Right.
It's really a unique situation.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when the bill was up originally, you know, I voted for the first version of the Affordable Care Act. Didn't vote for the second. And one of the reasons was, you know, they had taken out the ability, the free prescription drugs. They had taken out the ability of Medicare to negotiate prices. They had taken out some, you know, real meaty things out of it. So a lot of us were saying, hey, look, you know, we're going to have to take a bullet for this bill. Let's at least get a good bill, you know, and as opposed to this other bill. So, the pushing that's going on. I mean, it's unbelievable, you know, the pressure that's being placed on the representatives at this point.
And what was it like when you, you went against President Obama at the time? That couldn't have been an easy...
You know, I mean, it isn't. You know, you get the call and, you know, you get a couple of calls, and then the last call is a tough one. And actually, I was on the show when I announced that I was going to oppose it. And, you know, I got to Washington later that day and the phone rang. Yeah. And, you know, you get these, you know, really tough. And it's always hard. You know, there's this. Once you get in the president's office, it's incredibly hard to say no because
it's got to be intimidating.
Yeah, well, it's not just intimidating, but you get asked the question, what do you need to be on the bill? All right. So now that's tough because, you know, the president's saying to you, I know you support health care. Yeah. I want you on the bill. What do you need? I mean, that didn't happen to me, but that happens to a lot of other people. Yeah. So it's always tough. Once you get in the president's office, you generally lose. You know, the president generally wins.
And it's interesting right now. I mean, we expect the vote to come today. It didn't. And as of right now, I don't believe they have the votes to get this thing passed.
Right. And, you know, there's some good thing that I hear. There's some good things about this bill. One of the reasons that I oppose the other bill is that it didn't do away with the antitrust exemption. So what it allowed to happen is that, you know, you still only have one or two insurance companies, so the prices stay up. One of the things that we wanted, and I think this bill does, is it allows more insurance. It goes across state lines and allows more insurance companies to come in and bid. Now, if that happens, what obviously happens, there's competition. It brings the cost down. And that was one of the things that we were pushing for wasn't in. Now, I understand that iteration is, or that language was originally in the bill. Now, I don't know if it still is in the final, but, you know, I mean, the fact that the extreme right wants to take, you know, women who are pregnant out of it, you know, they're cutting, you know, millions of people. You know, look, I didn't vote for it, but right after I got done and it passed, I said, okay, look, I think we can make it better. I'll work to make it better. And I think they can work to make this better. Right. But I think
no one wants to, this is more about, I hate to say it's more about a campaign promise and trying to look like you're going to follow through on what you said you were going to do than it is doing what's right for the American people.
Well, you know, I was in Washington last week. I'm involved with a trade group that's we call ourselves Fair Traders. But the people in there are Trump supporters because President Trump actually has from our perspective, has a very good trade position with respect to free trade. And these supporters of Trump are saying, why doesn't he don't get into the trap that happened with the Obama administration where they got so tied up in some of these other issues that they didn't focus on jobs, they didn't focus on infrastructure. These are things that, President Trump can get help from the Democrats on. He should be focusing on that. Look, if he wants to tackle healthcare, fine, but put it off, maybe for 6 months or a year. Let's focus on the things that we know we can work together on. We know we agree. On infrastructure, it's just a question of where's the money going to come from and how much are we going to spend. On trade, there's some real good, border adjustable taxes out there. I happen to favor a value-added tax, but it varies. But those are things that I think you can have some really serious, good debate on. Some of these other issues, if I were advising him, I'd say, hey, look, push it out. I'm not telling you not to do it,
right,
but just push it back.
I'm gonna ask you.
The idea that if it doesn't pass tonight, they're going to scrap it. So they're basically going to keep Obamacare. But that would allow the opportunity to go in and fix what the problems that exist. Is that better for us as customers, clients, however you want to say it, that you don't start from complete scratch, you just fix what's broken in the current system?
I think so. I mean, obviously, that's where the debate
It's not
comes
what
in.
it is politically best. Now,
that's true.
Well, and there's
But I don't care about that.
Right, and there's two schools of thought. Like, one of the things we said is, hey, look, let's take some of the components. Let's try to pass this a little at a time so we get some of the good things done. And the other argument is, it'll never get done. There's not enough inertia to get that done.
Right.
So but here's the other factor that and we used to say this all the time in the House. They're forcing a vote here, and I understand. I mean, from what you hear, it's dead on arrival in the Senate anyway.
Right.
So they're they're going through this huge dog and pony show. They're putting people forcing them to take a vote, and it's not likely that this thing, from what I hear, is going to even get any traction in the Senate.
Dog and pony show.
It does allow him politically to say, look, hey, Republicans, I gave you the chance, you didn't do it, so we had to stick with this.
He is clearly the winner either way in this
so
whole
he's
thing.
not on the hook,
and actually probably would do better if the bill is not a good bill, if it is, because they don't want it called Trump Care. They want it to be Ryan Care or something else. So if it doesn't go through today, all right, we're,
And here's another factor that you never hear discussed, and this is really critically important.
Yeah.
The Affordable Care Act is a tax bill. It's a huge tax bill. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, we needed to raise taxes, and no one wanted to raise taxes because the healthcare system was falling apart. Obamacare put a medical device tax, which I didn't favor because we have ConMed here, so we opposed that. That was another reason I opposed it. They put the premium on the Cadillac plans. Again, that creates some problems, but it created some of these taxes that essentially have brought down the debt. In any case, the percentage. So if they do away with this, they're going to have to figure out a way to backfill these taxes, and nobody wants to vote to raise taxes. So that's going to create a problem, a bigger deficit.
I always used my favorite game as a kid was Kerplunk, and you pulled out that one stick and all the marbles came falling down.
Yeah, it's what are rule number one in Congress is do no harm, and very often you don't know what the negative effects of something are. You think the positive effects, it takes effect, and then you see all of these negative effects, and you say, wow, those were hard to anticipate.
Thought it would be an interesting perspective considering you were there when it went into play back 8 and some odd years ago.
I just did an interview with a student yesterday, and he said, what was the worst part of Congress? I said, aside from fundraising and campaigning, I said the Affordable Care Act, the whole vote, that was just brutal.
All right. Former Congressman Mike Arcuri, thanks so much. I appreciate it. By the way, you have, I just saw commercials, you have a new law firm.
Yes, I merged my law firm with Drew Ward, so we're doing estate work, real estate work, labor and employment, wills and trusts. So, it's enjoyable and
nice. Located over there in New Hartford, across from the high school over there.
Right across from the high school.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
We'll break.